Hey everyone, Dan and Leslie back for another Universal Dining Review.
We are headed to Epic Universe to the Atlantic for dinner.
This is like piggybacking off the lunch review that we just did over Blue Dragon not that long ago. So we are staying for dinner for the Atlantic. I'm really excited. Both of these, I was really looking forward to the Blue Dragon, so I'm interested how that turned out. Rewind. But I'm also like the Atlantic, we have been in a couple of times, once to just kind of walk around and once for the media event. They had some small bites, which were good, but it's really hard to do like mass production, small bites of larger dishes that you're making to order on a per guest basis. That's tough, right? So it's like turning in an a la carte fine dining restaurant into, maybe not fine dining, but a more upscale restaurant into a buffet essentially. So
especially when you're dealing with fish, I feel like.
Yeah. So
that's really tough.
It was good. It wasn't the best food I've ever had at the media event, but again, that's putting a lot on those chefs to like totally revamp how they're doing everything. So I don't judge it by that. I'm interested to get over here and see what it is like for dinner though.
Yeah, so I mean, they've got shrimp cocktail, they have oysters, they've got mussels, ceviche, crab cakes, spicy shrimp, all of these things, but then they also have some handheld. So there are sandwiches and burgers and lobster rolls. And then entrees, you've got everything from sea bass to seared scallops to bucatini, bone-in chicken breast, a filet mignon. So there's a really nice wide array, I feel, of like surf and turf. So you could go either direction.
Do love sea bass.
I know.
We'll see. We'll see what happens, but I'm looking forward to getting over there and eating here for dinner, the Atlantic. We've been looking forward to this one for quite some time. We actually had a reservation set for one of the preview days, but then it just didn't work out. So we're finally gonna get over here and review it. Are you ready to go see the Atlantic?
Yes, I am.
Let's do this. Alright, we have arrived. It is really nice in here actually. It's very quiet. There's a lot of soft goods. There's carpeting on the floor. All of these banquettes are like super high. If you can see, like it goes up pretty tall. You walk in and you check in. We did have to wait 20 minutes for our table. We got set on the main floor, so this is the lower level from where we walked in at, and this is the level that's on the water. So you can so the one bummer about being down here is that here in a booth, it's not the best views. You have to be next to the window to actually appreciate the water and the fountains.
Or one of the booths that like faces out, like if everybody faces
right.
out. Yeah.
So like all I can see here are basically people back there, and there's a column over there, so I can see some fountains beyond the people. But yeah, unless you're set next to the windows, the views aren't the best.
I like it. I like the fish that are going around the ceiling. I think that's a really nice touch, and I think everything has nice theming as far as like Jennings pointed out, the silverware being like little fish scales, and like the tile and the like back looks like a clamshell. And so I mean there's definitely like a lot of attention to the detail on making it very seafoody. I got the rosemary paloma and a tree in my drink. That's good. I'm not getting any rosemary though.
Even with that big tree hanging out of your drink?
I know, right? So I might need to like kind of savor on this a little bit. You know, the first.
I don't know how you don't get rosemary at it. Look at this thing. This is massive. Look at that rosemary sprig.
Maybe they will come as the drink goes on, hopefully. But anyway, otherwise decent.
I got the Spice Road Old Fashioned. Have to get the Old Fashioned to try it. It does come with one large cube, not crystal clear, so there's lots of little air bubbles in that guy, but that's okay. They probably made it in-house. That's actually a well-balanced Old Fashioned. That's actually a very, very well-balanced drink. The perfect amount of sweetness and bitters in there, along with that. Okay. You like it? Oh, Leslie approves.
You tried mine, I tried yours.
That's actually a very good Old Fashioned. So I think it's done really well. That's actually better than GO82, so there's that. Okay, our food has arrived. We did have to wait a little bit long. So we've been sitting here for an hour, and other tables that got set after us did get their food before we did, but we got our food. I got the sea bass, which is one of their specialty dishes, and it is also one of their more expensive dishes. So let's try this. The preparation is done really, really well. The temperature is perfect. I like there's a nice crisp on the crust. It could use a little bit more seasoning, so I think it needs a little bit more salt. Outside of that, though, the temperature is done really, really well. So it's cooked probably perfectly. It just needs a little bit more depth of flavor. So good, not great.
All right, so I got the filet mignon, which I've heard great things about. I will say I asked for it to be prepared medium rare. It's definitely more medium, I think. And then they poured like a steak sauce over the top of it, which I'm just not a fan of steak sauce. I did not know that was going to happen, so that kind of takes it down for me because I feel like a steak should be able to just stand alone on its own. So it's good, but not great.
I ordered the lobster roll, one of the most expensive items on the menu. Portion-wise, very small, which is kind of par for the course. But very good, very delicious. The lobster tastes very fresh, very good. It comes with a little bowl of butter that you can pour on top with a side of these in-house fried chips. Tastes like potato skins baked.
I got the bucatini pasta, and I really like the sauce in it. I really like the thickness of the pasta. Other than that, nothing really blew me away. The bacon in it was a good inclusion. It was pretty good.
Well, we're going to wrap this up at home.
All right, we are back.
Before we get into this, if you are looking to plan your next magical vacation, please reach out to us over at Fantastical Vacations. We plan Disney destinations, Universal cruise lines, and all-inclusive resorts.
And lots of epic universe.
Yes.
So, let's get into this. The Atlantic is the restaurant that was kind of like the restaurant, if that makes sense. So this is the one that was like center of the park, right in the middle of Celestial Park. It is right on the water, those fountains going outside those windows. You got the theming in there, and this should be the upscale restaurant to visit. I gotta say, this was probably my least favorite dining experience in Epic Universe so far.
Yeah, it's funny. So, like, honestly, you know, as we stated previously, we did both Blue Dragon and Atlantic in the same day. And I just would rather stick with quick service. Like, in this park particularly, I just don't need the sit-down restaurant experience. Neither of them just blew me away, whereas some of the quick service places have actually blown me away.
I know, it's weird. Like, anyway, let's get into it. Ambiance and theming. This was probably the highlight, if that, and it wasn't that great. Just to be honest with you. So the ambiance and theming, the theming is probably the highlight here.
Yeah.
So the theming is pretty good. Everything from the silverware has got scales on them like a mermaid's tail, to the fish that are suspended from the ceiling. They're on like this track that kind of just like rotates throughout the restaurant, which is kind of fun. That's fine. Outside the windows, you've got the fountains up. The problem is, going to the ambiance side of this thing, it wasn't overly loud. There was lots of soft goods in there, so it did dampen the noise. And the tables weren't too close together, but here's the issue. If you can't see the fountains, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing.
So we were like kind of set off to the side in a booth, and so it was hard to really see. Like Jennings couldn't see anything because of where he was sitting. I could see a few fountains. So that was a little disappointing that there wasn't like a better view, I guess. However, I'm not going to dock him too much on that because I can see the fountains and the overall like beautifulness of this restaurant with all of the windows and everything.
I don't know. I'm gonna dock him because like our booth that we were in, you got a wall here, and then behind both of us, we were facing each other in booths. The back of the booth is like it goes way high up, and so you feel like you're kind of in this little cave, which is nice in one way because you don't get a lot of noise from people outside, but then you can't see anything, and the whole ambiance is gone at that point. The theming is gone. Like unless, so there is such a stark difference, I think, from being set by a window from being set anywhere else. So like if you're one of the 15% of the tables that are next to a window, fantastic. You got great views of the park and the fountains and the water, fantastic. But if you're not right by a window,
that's something that's disappointing, is that if like a good, third of your tables are getting a less than experience because they can't see, then that's disappointing.
2/3.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, we gave ambiance and theming a 4, mainly because of the theming aspect of it, with the fish rotating on the ceiling and like the silverware with the scales on it and everything. There is a lot of theming in there, so we gave it a 4. Let's talk service, and here's where it really took a nosedive.
Oh dear. Yes.
So we got in there, checked in, and it was a solid 20 minutes before we got set. Now, if you're waiting for a table by the window and you specifically say, I want a table by the window, that's on you. But we didn't say that. We were just gonna take first available table. Okay, so 20 minutes, fine. So then, our waitress was really hard upselling a lot. Like she was trying to get us to order appetizers, and
she
then
was even trying to get, like, the kids were like, we just want water, and she's like, are you sure you don't want a soda? It was a lot of hard upselling, but then in addition to that, we didn't order any appetizers. We ordered our drinks, and then we pretty much immediately ordered our food, and it was 45 minutes before our food came out.
We were in there over an hour before we got our entrees. Now we did like look at the menu for a while and order drinks and stuff first, but yeah. Like once we ordered our food, it was at least 45 minutes before we actually got our food. People that were getting set after us had already received their entrees.
Yeah.
We asked her as she was passing by, she didn't even come and check, but we asked her if she was passing by. I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll go check on it. Finally, we got our food.
Yeah, and you know, I get it. Sometimes things get lost, whatever. But there was no apology. There was no, I'm so sorry this took so long. No, like even acknowledgement of the fact that it took a while, which to me is kind of not great. So all that to say, we gave service a 2.
Drinks were actually pretty tasty. Mine was. You didn't like yours so much.
Well, mine was a rosemary paloma, and there was a stick of rosemary, a quite large.
It was a tree of rosemary.
It actually poked me in the eye at one point, but it was quite large, but there was no flavor of rosemary, which I thought was really weird. Like, I thought there was supposed to be like a rosemary syrup or something in there, but all I could get was like sweet and sour. I couldn't even really get grapefruit from the paloma. So it's not something I would ever order again.
My old fashioned was really well balanced. It is pretty much the exact balance that I try to get here with my old fashions, so I really enjoyed mine. The one large cube, at least they had one large cube. It wasn't crystal clear though. They had clearly like made it there in an ice mold, which is fine, like whatever.
You're such an ice snob.
I am an ice snob, but it is what it is. Like now I make my own crystal clear one large cube here, right?
Yeah.
And if I can do it here, they can surely do it at Universal. They surely can figure it out, right? If you're charging what they're charging to eat at the Atlantic and to have these old fashions, I feel like it probably deserves it. But, you know, so I'm not gonna give it a 5, but I would say mine was a solid 4, just the consistency and the balance of the drink itself. Like whoever made that knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yours though, you said was 3 at best?
Yeah, probably.
So we gave drinks a 3.5.
Yeah. Food. Okay, so I got the filet mignon, which It was a little overcooked from what I requested, but what really, like, I probably could have looked past that because it wasn't bad as far as like chewing and everything. What was weird is it was like cooked different in all the different parts of the steak, which I thought was kind of funny.
It wasn't a uniform, so it's almost like they cooked it and then realized that they had left a couple of other entrees off the ticket and then put it under a heat lamp, and it like part of it started to bake more.
It was weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was fine, except for the fact that they smothered it in steak sauce. And I'm just not a fan of steak sauce. I think steak should be able to stand on its own. And if it's seasoned properly and cooked properly, then you should be able to eat that without anything else. And so I don't like the flavor of steak sauce. So I was like trying to scrape off as much of the steak sauce as I could, but there was so much of it that it was just like sitting in it. Anyway, so it was fine, but it was definitely not my favorite steak that I've ever had.
Mine was cooked perfectly, but I have two big complaints. Number one, it wasn't seasoned at all. So it was totally bland. So it needed some salt. Number two, it was just too small. And I think that was probably a theme for all four of our dishes. Yeah. We all left there, and we had just eaten 5 hours earlier. So it's not like it's been all day, but we all four of us left there you said you were comfortable, but you weren't hungry going in.
But I wasn't hungry going in.
But me and our two kids, we left hungry. And like, you shouldn't spend $220 on a meal and leave hungry.
Aiden was like, I'm gonna make sandwiches whenever we get home. Great.
That is super unfortunate. Like, if you're gonna spend, and we got an AP discount, and it was $220. And we didn't get that much food. It was 4 entrees and 2 adult beverages. $220, and that's after an AP discount.
Yeah.
That is a lot of money to spend to leave hungry.
Yeah.
That's super frustrating. Like, I don't mind spending that to do one of these dining reviews and bring it to you and get a good meal and just like feel like I didn't. Now, the fish was cooked perfectly, but you know, it needed salt and it was super small. And aside from the little like 6-ounce piece of fish, there really wasn't any substance to that dish.
Yeah.
There were some snow peas and a couple of like, I don't know, sweet potato, little bitey thing. I don't know. Anyway, all that to say, wasn't the biggest fan.
Yeah, and the kids kind of felt the same. I think both of them liked their meals, like they tasted good, but they both it was just small portions. So
I think because of flavors, we ended up giving food a 3.5. But all the other stuff really dragged it down. So it was slightly above average, but just barely.
Yeah, so if you add all that up and divide it out, Atlantic gets a 3.25 out of 5 for our visit. I don't think that I'll be back. This is one that there are sometimes whenever it scores above 3, I like it enough that I would go back. But this is one that I don't think that the value is there for the money, and I'd much rather go to Pizza Moon or the French restaurant, just something else. I have a mac and cheese cone. There's plenty of other really fabulous places that have a great value for what you're getting.
Oh man, Pizza Moon is great pizza. And for what, $20, 20 something dollars, you can get a solid pizza and share it. Like, I mean, compared to $200 and you leave hungry, the value is just not there for us. So that's where we're at.
All right, well, if you are liking these videos, please hit that like and subscribe button so you don't miss the next one.
And we will see you on the next video.